Welcome to TechCast by Raqmedia.com, your quick stop for the latest tech news, smart hacks, and cutting-edge updates. Stay informed, stay ahead. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Raqmedia TechCast. Your daily stop for all things tech.
That's right.
And today, we're going deep on privacy. Apple's iOS 18.2 update.
Always something, right, with those updates.
Always something to unpack. And this time around, iOS 18.2 millions of iPhone users should know this about privacy.
Millions, huh? Guess that's most of us.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, who isn't updating these days? But yeah, so we're going to be focusing on a few key things.
Okay.
Like how ChatGPT is being integrated with Siri.
Oh, that's the big one, right? Everyone's talking about that.
Yeah, and then what that means for all of our data privacy.
That's the part I think folks are a little nervous about.
Yeah, for sure. And then also a sneak peek at a feature that's coming a little later called on-screen awareness.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's brand new. So buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride through the world of Apple privacy.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
Okay, so first up, ChatGPT in Siri. Like, the article makes it sound like Siri is getting a massive upgrade.
Yeah, it's not just setting timers anymore.
Right. Like, from what I understand, we're talking about drafting emails, creating images, even answering really complex questions.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like having a mini supercomputer right there in your pocket.
I mean, is this really the future of Siri, though? Like, is this what it's going to become?
I think it has the potential, yeah. The Ask ChatGPT command is going to be huge.
Ask ChatGPT. Okay. Yeah, I saw that in the article.
It basically means Siri can tap into all of ChatGPT's knowledge, right? And it can do all these things.
Wow.
And you don't even need an OpenAI account to use it, at least to start.
Yeah, it's interesting.
There are limits if you don't have an account, like how many requests you can make each day.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
But it's enough to get a feel for it, see what it can do.
So you're telling me I could ask Siri to, like, write a haiku about my cat right now without signing up for anything?
You could try it.
Tempting. Okay, but hold on a sec, though. This all sounds incredibly data heavy.
Well, yeah. It's AI, right?
Hmm.
It needs data to work.
So, like, what's stopping Apple or ChatGPT from just, knowing everything about me?
That's a valid concern. And that's where Apple's trying to walk this tightrope.
Yeah.
They know people are worried about privacy.
For sure.
So the article goes into how they're trying to mitigate the risks.
Okay. How so?
For one thing, you have to give explicit permission before any data is shared with ChatGPT.
So it's not just happening in the background without me knowing?
No, you have to opt in.
Okay.
They're also doing things like masking IP addresses.
What does that do?
It basically makes it harder to track your online activity.
Ah. Okay, so it's more anonymous.
More anonymous, yeah. And they say they're not storing those requests either.
Okay, that's good, I guess. So it's kind of a proceed with caution situation then? Like, I'm in control, but I still need to be aware of what I'm agreeing to.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
It's a trade-off, like with most things in tech, right?
More convenience, less privacy.
Potentially. It depends how you use it, really. And here's the other catch. If you do connect your OpenAI account,
Oh, right.
then ChatGPT's own data usage policies come into play.
Apple can't really control that, can they?
Not really, no. So that's something to be aware of.
Yeah, it's like opening up another layer of complexity.
Definitely. And it gets even more interesting when you think about how this interacts with other features.
Right.
Well, the article quotes this cybersecurity expert, Jake Moore.
Okay.
He says, and I quote, "Simply asking Siri what is in a photo may seem harmless, but to carry out this action, a copy will be shared with ChatGPT and analyzed and possibly even stored."
Whoa, okay. That's kind of creepy when you put it like that.
Yeah, right. It's like even simple things we might not think twice about.
Like asking about a photo.
Exactly. Suddenly you're sharing data with this third-party AI.
And who knows what happens to it after that?
Right. It's that whole magic trick thing,
What do you mean?
Like you're wowed by the outcome, but you don't see the mechanics behind it. Ah, I get it.
And in this case, the mechanics involve sending your data off to who knows where.
So what's Apple doing about that?
Well, they're trying to do as much processing on the device itself as possible.
Okay, like on my iPhone, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because then your data never leaves your phone.
That makes sense.
But for the really complex stuff, for the AI magic, that's not always possible.
So what happens then?
That's where their private cloud compute system comes in.
Private cloud compute. Okay, I think I saw that mentioned in the article, but didn't really understand it.
It's basically their way of doing cloud computing, but with supposedly stronger security and privacy built in.
So they're saying it's better than just sending my data to a regular cloud server.
That's the claim, yeah. They've even been inviting developers to try and find vulnerabilities, which shows they're taking security seriously.
Interesting.
But it's still early days, you know. It's always good to be a little skeptical, especially with new stuff like this. That's true, yeah. Like, remember how we all used to think cloud storage was risky and now it's just normal?
Yeah, exactly. Things change fast in tech.
Okay, but speaking of new and potentially risky, let's talk about this on-screen awareness thing. It sounds kind of Big Brother-ish.
I know, right? A little creepy, but it's also kind of cool.
In what way?
So this feature, it's coming in iOS 18.4, so not for a little while.
Okay.
But basically, it lets Siri and Apple Intelligence see what's on your screen.
See? Like, actually see.
Yeah, and interact with it in real time.
So, like, if I'm looking at a photo, Siri could tell me who's in it without me asking.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Or answer questions about a website you're on, help you navigate a tricky app, even control your smart home stuff based on what's happening on your screen.
Whoa, okay. My mind is blown, but also a little freaked out.
It's a lot to take in, right?
Yeah, but hold on, didn't we just talk about ChatGPT analyzing photos?
Yeah.
Are you saying Siri could take a screenshot of my screen and send it off to AI without me knowing?
That's a valid concern, yeah. The article brings that up, too.
That's scary.
Yeah. It all comes down to permissions and how these features interact, right? If it's not done right, you could end up sharing way more than you intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm glad we're talking about this.
Me too. It's so important to be aware of what these updates actually do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, it's like anything powerful, right? It can be used for good or for bad.
Totally, like fire.
Yeah, exactly. And it's up to us to understand how to use that power responsibly.
To be in control, not the other way around.
Right. And speaking of being in control, we have tons more info on all things tech over at Raqmedia.com.
Always a good resource.
Definitely. So if you're even a little intrigued by this conversation, go check it out.
I second that.
But okay, back to iOS 18.2. We focused a lot on ChatGPT,
Yeah, it's the big, shiny new thing.
but there's more to this update, right?
Oh yeah, there's more. The Forbes article touches on some other features too. One that I thought was interesting is this thing about trusting a new computer with Face ID.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. What's that all about?
So you know how usually when you connect to a new computer for the first time, you have to enter your passcode?
Yeah, I always feel like I'm going to forget it at the worst possible moment.
Right. So with this new feature, you can just use Face ID instead.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a small change, but I think it'll make things a lot smoother for people.
It's all about that seamless experience, huh?
Exactly. And it also shows how Apple is always thinking about security too.
Right, making things more secure, but also more user-friendly.
Exactly. Striking that balance.
Okay, but while we're talking about security, let's zoom out a bit and talk about the bigger picture of privacy in iOS 18.2.
The big picture, okay?
The article doesn't go into too much detail beyond ChatGPT, but surely there are other things users should be thinking about, right?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime there's a major software update, it's a good chance to review your privacy settings.
It's like spring cleaning for your digital life.
I like that analogy.
Right, get rid of all the dust bunnies and cobwebs.
Exactly. Out with the old, in with the new.
Okay, so where do we even start with that? I'll be honest, I usually just skim through those settings screens and hope for the best.
I think a lot of people do, but taking a few minutes to really understand what each setting does can make a big difference.
Like what, for example?
Well, location services are a big one.
Oh, right, yeah.
You can control which apps have access to your location, and even when they can access it.
So they don't have to be tracking me 24/7.
Exactly. You can set it so they only access your location when you're actually using the app.
It's good to know. I've definitely been guilty of letting apps track my location even when I don't really need them to.
Yeah, it happens, but it can drain your battery and compromise your privacy.
So we've got location, what else?
App permissions are another important one.
Okay.
Every time you install a new app, it'll ask for permission to access different things on your phone, right? Like your camera, your microphone, your contacts.
Yeah.
You don't have to say yes to everything.
Really?
Yeah. Think carefully about what each app actually needs to function.
It's like being a digital bouncer, right?
Exactly. You decide who gets in and who stays out.
Okay.
And then there are things like ad tracking and personalized recommendations.
Oh, right.
You can limit how much data is collected about your browsing habits, what you watch, all that stuff.
Does that mean I'll see fewer ads?
Not necessarily, but it can impact the types of ads you see and the recommendations you get, too.
So it's a trade-off again.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
You're giving up some personalization, but gaining more privacy.
It's all about finding the balance that works for you.
Exactly. There's no one right answer.
The important thing is to be aware of the choices, right?
Exactly. And that's where a resource like Raqmedia.com can be super helpful.
Oh, yeah, good point.
They have tons of articles and guides that explain all these complex privacy settings in a way that's easy to understand.
Yes. Seriously, folks, if you're feeling even a little overwhelmed by all this privacy talk, head over to Raqmedia.com. They'll break it down for you.
They're like the privacy whisperers.
Love it. Okay, but back to iOS 18.2. We've talked about ChatGPT, we've talked about other new features, and we've talked about the importance of checking your privacy settings.
A lot of good stuff.
Is there anything else about this update that you think is particularly noteworthy?
Well, one thing that the article emphasizes is that iOS 18.2 is a pretty significant update, and it's likely to arrive before the holidays.
Before the holidays. Okay, so this isn't just some far-off thing then?
Nope, it's coming soon, which means millions of iPhone users are going to be getting these new features and privacy options very soon.
Like in a matter of weeks, maybe?
Could be. And that's why I think it's so important to have these conversations now before it's too late.
Yeah, to be prepared.
Exactly. We need to be informed. We need to be empowered to make the best choices for ourselves and our data.
Well said. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of new features.
The shiny new toy syndrome.
Right. But we can't forget about the responsibility that comes with them.
That's so important.
Okay, so I think this is a good segue back to ChatGPT.
Back to the AI.
Yeah. We talked about the potential risks, but let's flip the script for a moment. Yeah. What are you most excited about with this whole ChatGPT Siri integration? Like, if you could ask Siri to do anything, what would it be?
Ooh, fun question. Honestly, I think I'm most excited about the potential for personalized learning.
Personalized learning.
Yeah, like imagine asking Siri to explain a complex concept to you in a way that's tailored to your specific learning style.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Right? It could be a game changer for education.
It's like having the world's best tutor in your pocket.
Exactly. What about you? Any fun requests you'd make of Siri?
Let me think. Well, I'm a bit of a foodie, so maybe I'd ask Siri to come up with a recipe based on whatever ingredients I have in my fridge.
Oh, that's a good one. Like a personalized cooking show?
Right. Or maybe I'd ask it to write me a funny song about my dog.
The possibilities are endless.
I love that. It's important to remember that tech can be fun too. It's not all doom and gloom.
Absolutely. We can have fun with it, and we can use it to make our lives better in so many ways.
Yeah. Okay. I'm feeling optimistic now.
Me too.
But for now, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Sounds good. I agree. It's been a good one.
We started with the big news, ChatGPT coming to Siri.
That was a big one.
Yeah. Explored both the amazing potential and, those valid concerns about data privacy.
Always got to think about that.
Always. And then we talked about some of the other cool features in iOS 18.2, like using Face ID to trust new devices.
Yeah, that's going to be handy.
And we can't forget that all-important reminder to actually check your privacy settings.
So easy to just ignore those.
It's so true. But taking control of your data is, I think, more important now than ever.
Couldn't agree more.
And if you're feeling a little lost, like you're wandering around in the digital wilderness, then head over to Raqmedia.com. They've got maps, compasses, maybe even a friendly guide dog to help you navigate all that.
Love that analogy. They're like the digital park rangers.
Right. Okay, but before we send everyone off on their privacy quest, I wanted to circle back to something you said earlier about ChatGPT and education.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
You really think this could be a game changer, like a real game changer?
I do, yeah. Think about it. Every student, no matter where they are, could have access to this personalized tutor.
Mm-hmm.
A tutor that can adapt to their learning style, their pace, their interests. It's like having the world's best teacher available 24/7.
That's incredible. And it's all right there in their pocket.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing when you really think about it.
But it also makes me think about, the digital divide.
Ah, yeah, the access issue.
Right. Like, not everyone has the latest iPhone or reliable internet connection. So how do we make sure these advancements benefit everyone, not just the people who can afford them?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, it's a question we need to be asking as a society, not just in tech.
Yeah.
We need to be investing in infrastructure, education, digital literacy programs. All those things are crucial.
Sure. It can't just be about creating the cool new tech. It has to be about using that tech to create a better world, a more equitable world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, I think that's a good note to end on.
A positive note?
A note of hope for the future of tech.
I like it.
So with that, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into iOS 18.2 and all things privacy.
It's been a good one, lots to think about.
We covered a lot of ground today, from the nitty-gritty details of the update to the bigger questions about AI and how it's changing our lives.
And our data.
But hopefully, our listeners are walking away feeling more informed, maybe even a little empowered to make their own choices about how they interact with all this tech,
That's what we're here for.
to give you the information you need to make smart decisions.
Smart and informed.
Exactly. And if you're looking for even more analysis, more deep dives into the world of tech, be sure to visit Raqmedia.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tech news and trends.
Definitely check it out.
And that's a wrap on today's Raqmedia TechCast. The script for today's show is written by Ezadon Yahiwi. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify for more deep dives into the world of tech. Thanks for listening.